Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make this card, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. When you purchase Stampin' Up! Products through me, you can earn free products. Check out my current customer appreciation products on my blog, and the link is listed below in the description. Today, I'd like to share with you another paper pumpkin alternative card made with the July 2021 paper pumpkin kit called The Adventure Begins. These are the original cards that came in the kit. There were enough supplies to make 4 of these 3 designs. And the fun thing about these cards are they originally are fun fold tri-fold cards with this fun peekaboo window. So to change them up, I had to get really creative and come up with some unique ways on using the peekaboo windows. So my first card, I created a clear card. So you can see here this really beautiful card. It has an extra card on the inside that you can write your message. And if you're interested in seeing how I created this card or watching me unbox and make the original projects, you can click on my playlist and I will link it up here in the top right corner. Today I have a fun pull tab card which reveals an area where you can write your message. So let's go ahead and make this card. Don't miss next month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. The August 2021 kit is called Hope Box, and it was created from the heart and soul of Stampin' Up's co-founder, Shelly. Make sure to subscribe by August 10th using the link below. To make this card, you're going to need the circle flap card with the mountains and the trees on it. And then from yesterday's card, we're going to need the other half of the banner label that came in the kit. So the original piece has, it's double this, and it has kind of a fishtail banner on one side. And what we did is we cut it in half, and we used one half for our card yesterday. And then today we're going to use the second half. So to begin this card, we're going to need to remove the mountain landscape flap from the rest of the card. So we're going to keep these 2 pieces intact for now, and we're just going to remove this piece here. And it's a little tricky to cut along a folded line. And so what you need to do is you need to make sure you've got a good score blade that's nice and sharp, and you should also start in the center of your cardstock instead of on the edge. So you're just going to make sure that you're going to cut. What I'm looking for is I need to remove that score line. I don't really want to have it on my card. So I've just lined it up with my cut line and press down and then go ahead and cut. And you'll see that it kind of comes out just a little bit jagged if you have a nice brand new blade. So I just replaced my blade the other day, just pretty recently. So you can see that even with a brand new blade, you're going to get a little bit of a jagged edge. So here for this card, we're going to go ahead and just fold along that score line and make a nice crease. We will need to cut this, but I think it's easiest to do that with a pair of scissors once the card is put together. So remove this inner circle, and we are going to stamp on this for a second or a third tree, I guess. So go ahead and save this. So to create this pull tab mechanism, we need to create a space for this inside picture to move freely. And to do that, I like to use the foam adhesive strips. And what we're going to do is we're going to line the 2 left and right edges of our front flap with these strips. So there's a couple tips here. The first one is you can go all the way down to the bottom with this, and that's just going to keep everything in line. However, at the top, you want to leave like a 1/2 inch gap. Maybe 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't really need to be measured or anything, but just leave a little gap there. So let's go ahead and do the same to this other side. So you're going to want to get it as close to the edge as you can, but you don't want it on the edge. So there's a little gap here just to kind of keep so that we don't see the foam strip from the front of the card. Okay. And the same on this side. So it's near the fold or score line, but there's enough space there to keep it from showing. And then I'm just going to butt these two right up next to each other. And stick this other piece down, and again leave about 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch at the top. And cut if I can. There we go. Okay. Now with this little piece, you can just add this to the bottom, and that's just going to keep it from going all the way out of your card. You don't need to have, it doesn't need to go all the way across, just enough to prevent that inside seam from escaping at the bottom. Okay, so right now we've got full left, full right, some on the bottom, and about 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch gap at the top. So the nice thing about these is you can also use the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this small edge here, trim it from the sides, and I'm going to place about 1/2 inch on each, at the top of each side. Now it's important that it goes beyond this here. So we need at least 1/4 of an inch beyond. So let's go for about that much. So that's about 1/2 inch of adhesive strip on that side. And we'll do about the same on this side here. Okay, so that is our stopper. That's going to prevent the card from coming all the way out, which we don't want. I mean, if you're okay with it coming all the way out, then you can. You are welcome to just leave this opening and it can pull all the way out, and then people can put it back in. I like that it stops because then it feels like, you know, it's easier for that person to then cover it back up. Okay, so that's a stopper that prevents the paper from coming all the way out. You know, and I just realized that that stopper actually cannot go beyond this line here. So we're going to actually need to cut it down just a little bit. So maybe just to make things a little easier, so I know how much space to give it, I'm going to just line this up here and cut. There's little things that I remember every once in a while. Okay, so then we're just going to remove that. So it's still beyond my line, but it just has a little bit that's going to catch and hold that in place. And then the same here. So we don't want to go beyond that circle, or our picture won't be, like the whole circle won't be covered by our picture. So just a little bit of space here. Okay. All right, so we'll double check that that stops it. Okay, so do you see there that I made a quick change because we need our paper to be as wide as our circle, and then we need it to stop. The first thing we want to do is measure our circle. So our circle from one side to the other is about 3 3/4 inches, and they should all be about the same. And then here we need this opening to be about the same as well. So this opening is just a little bit small than that. So I'm going to actually trim a little bit more off this side. Okay. So when we trim this, we're going to need to do evenly on all sides. Okay. And we're going to stop at the bottom. We need to leave about 1/2 inch or so at the bottom so that we can, so that stops. So this is 5.5 inches. So we're going to stop at the 5-inch line. So this is 4 1/4 or should be about that, just slightly under that. So we're going to do one side at 4 inches. And again, stop at 5 inches. So then once we have that piece cut, we need to cut our other side, but let's go ahead and just cut off that piece. So we're going to line it up at a 1/2 inch, and we're going to just cut just a little bit in so that we can remove that piece there, okay? And then on this side, we're going to rotate this, and we want this inside part now to line up at 3 3/4 inches. And now because we're doing this opposite, we need to stop at the 1/2 inch mark here on the right, okay? And then go again and flip it over. You can do this however you want to make it nice and straight. I think we're gonna go this way. Actually, I'm gonna turn this over. Then I can have a nice full side holding it. So it's at a 1/2 inch here. Come down and just stop at that cut line. Okay, so now we've created a panel. It's 3 3/4 inches across, and it has our stoppers at the bottom. So these stoppers are just a little bit big, so we're probably going to need to trim those. So let's just see how it fits in our card first. Okay, so the 3 3/4 is a perfect dimension. You can see here that it fits really nicely between our stoppers, and there's plenty of space, and it covers our circle. So now we need to trim off just the little bit from the stoppers here on this side so that it fits inside our lines. Okay, so let's measure really quick how much space there is. So there's, so it looks like we could probably get 3 7/8 is about what we're looking for. Let's see what it is here. About the same. Okay, so that's about the same all the way. So we just need to remove, so we're adding 1/8 or 1/16 on both sides. So we're just going to line this up. What I did here on this side is I started at 3 3/4, and then I just am adding 1/16. And then I'm going to trim this part off. And then we'll do the same on this side. So starting at 3 3/4, moving to 1/16 and trimming it. Okay, and we just need that little bit of stopper to hold our card from pulling all the way out. Okay, so you can see here that it fits nicely between our 2 foam strips. And then when it comes all the way up, it's going to stop right there on those foam strips there, okay, to create a stopper. Just like that. And then we do have a little piece here at the top that pokes out. Now, if you don't like that, you can trim it and bring that down just a little bit. That's up to you. You just measure and decide for yourself if that's what you want. Okay, so now that we've got all the pieces are working well together, we've checked it and tried it, we can remove the paper from the back here. And we need to add our panel. So make sure you add your panel before closing your card. So now we're going to close this card, and I like to close it so that it's still attached, because then I know that everything is going to close nice and flat. Okay, so you can see here that everything is now attached, and I'm just squeezing it all together. If you want, you can leave it just like that, so it's still a kind of closed card with a little bit of bubbling, or you can cut it with a pair of paper snips so that it fits a little bit flatter. So you see here, there's a little bit of bubbling there. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and take my pair of paper snips, and I'm going to just trim all the way down this card. There we go. And if you wanted to kind of even that up, you can, take your snips and kind of just give it a nice cut So to kind of just make it feel a little more straight. So now you can test this, and it stops and it slides really easily in and out of your card. It just looks really nice. So for our stamping, we're going to stamp one of the trees, a greeting, and then on the inside, I've added congrats. So let's begin with our tree. I've got the large solid tree, and I'm going to ink it up in garden green. Now in the kit, you do get a garden green ink spot, but I do have the garden green ink pad, and so I'm just going to use that to make things a little faster and easier. I'm going to make it a little lighter by stamping off first onto some scratch paper and then onto my white paper here, and this is going to be the perfect amount of paper that I need for my tree. And then I'm going to ink up the detailed tree lines and then add that full strength right over my large tree. So you're going to get a fun multi-colored tree there. Then for my greeting, I've got the other half of the label, and I have Dream Big, Aim High on a clear block, and then just ink that up and add that to this strip here. And it's a nice tight fit, so it will fit. You just have to make sure that all those letters are kind of near the top so that you can get the G's in there as well. And then here you can see that we've got one angle on the right, and I'm just going to take a pair of paper snips and cut the straight side to match that angle on the left. And we're going to fussy cut out our tree. Okay, so I just finished cutting that out, and we're going to now add it to our card with a little adhesive here at the bottom. So you could use the glue dots from the kit, or if you have some Stampin' Seal, you could use that as well. I've just added it near the bottom, and then I'm just going to place that so that this bottom level of branches are on the outside of the circle. And I want it to just kind of come off to the right side of this larger tree here. So something like that. And then we're going to add our Dream Big, Aim High. And before we do that, I do want to place some twine on the back. And this is the black from the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. I really liked how the black kind of stood out. We've got a little bit of black in some of the details of the card, and I just think it turned out to be a really good accent color. So I've added a little bit of adhesive kind of behind the Dream Big sentiment, and I've cut 8 inches of twine, and I'm going to find the center and place it on that adhesive, and then just kind of make some loops going back and forth. So something that will look like that. And then this just does get added with dimensionals to the card. And you can place those dimensionals over the twine to make sure it holds it in place. And then one on the other side as well. And then that just goes below this stamped tree and centered on the card. Just like that. So then on the inside, you can write your message. So again, I'm stamping that with the garden green ink. I'm just going to lay everything down so I make sure that I don't accidentally stamp on it, and then just kind of squeeze it in between those trees right there. And then that leaves me a fun little place where I can write a message and sign my name. The last thing I think we need to do is just kind of dress up the card a little bit and add a little pull tab here so people know to pull this out to see the message. So to do that, I wanted to kind of make it a little bit fancy, and so I used the Label Me Fancy punch. And so we're just going to punch out one of these labels here. So the full thing. I'm going to use both the top and the bottom to create this pull tab. Can you see that it's attached to both sides? So to do that, I'm bringing in my paper trimmer and I'm going to line up the top of this curve at 1/2 inch. And then cut. And then rotate and do the same. So at the top of that 1/2 inch. So to place these on my card, I'm going to start by adding a glue dot to the bottom of this card in each corner. Then I'm going to take this and pull it out just a little bit so I can see where I'm placing it. I do want to kind of line it up on some grid paper and find the center point. And then I'm just going to flip this over so the glue dots are going down onto my paper. And I'm going to find the center of that as well. So here's my center line. And I'm just adding it right to the top of that card. So you see how that looks right there. And then on this side, we're going to add some glue dots. And we want them to cover both the on the cardstock and on the punch. So you can see where I've placed those. And then we're just going to take the second one and cover it up so it has a nice clean look to it. Okay. All right. So then if you want, you can write the word pull or an arrow. I have the new Give It a Whirl dies, and this is just a really fun die set that creates interactive cards, and they have some great arrow options. So what I did is I took this particular die, it has 2 different arrows, a small one and then a kind of a curved one, and I'm going to cut it out with some black cardstock, and I've attached some adhesive sheets to the back, just so it makes it really easy to attach it there. So I'm going to run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So you can see there that cute little arrow that it cuts out. And it's so tiny that it's nice to be able to have the adhesive sheets to kind of add that adhesive to it quickly and easily. Okay, so I've just removed the paper backing. I'm using the point of my Take a Pick tool. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit so I can see the whole label. And I'm just going to place that right in the center there, just to tell him to pull it up to see the greeting. And so next we're going to add the sequins from the kit, and you can really use as many as you like. I'm just going to place a couple inside the circle and outside the circle. Let's place another one down here, and then maybe a couple blue ones as well. Okay, so that card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this second alternative card to the July 2021 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images of this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. If you're interested in getting your own Paper Pumpkin subscription, please use the link in the description box below to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.